Hi guys, welcome back to Our Non-Toxic Podcast. I'm Hannah and I am here to continue a topic that we started 1 week ago and I rambled for too long about and did not get to finish. So fortunately for me this week, I did not have to write another outline. I just have to refer back to the one that I did last week and only got about 40% of the way through. But I think that's the sign of a good topic because I had a lot of things to say. I had a lot of ideas to express. There were just things that I wanted to communicate to you guys, and whether or not I executed on that part remains to be seen. That's something only you can tell me. But I did say words out loud, so hopefully they have some kind of impact on someone that's listening, and if not, we'll give it a second whack this week. So without further ado, let's whack. I shouldn't say that. So I do have a pile of Nerds Cluster sitting right here. If you're watching on YouTube and or Spotify, then that's my little stack. It's my sustenance. It's late in the day, and I've been socializing all day. This isn't typically a problem for me. So I could lie and say this is my fuel source so that I can continue to be social. It's not. I just wanted some candy. So I won't make excuses for myself. I'll just admit I wanted some Nerds Clusters. I'm a grown-up and that's allowed. This has been the craziest week. I think because last week was Snowmageddon and everything was canceled. Everything was just like, we'll just move to next week. No big deal. And at the time it was great because it was the week that everything was getting moved from. And now I'm in the reschedule week and it's been a little bit chaotic, just a tiddly bit busy. And I'm not mad because I was feeling too sequestered last week. There was too much downtime. And with both my husband and I having been home for 4 days straight, it does get a little cramped. There's only so much person per square footage that we can tolerate personally. And I think we exceeded that limit about day 2. Luckily, our marriage survived. I'm happy to report. But I'm happy to be out back in the world socializing. This week has been nice, albeit a little bit crazy town. So basically, this whole week has been like, wake up, I do my morning routine because luckily I've learned from my past mistakes and I know that I require a calm morning in order to have a good day. So I have my morning routine, my coffee, my Bible study, my morning scroll just to wake my brain up, all of the above. Then I get ready for the day. And since then, it's been just like off to the races, start to finish, full days, evening plans. You know, I don't like to do double header evening plans, and I'm going on like a triple header. Also, I had weekend plans. So it's been a little bit busy. If you can tell by the manic look in my eye, that's actually probably not related. That's just, who I am as a person. But it's been good. It's just been a little bit all over the place. So sitting down to record right now is later than I had expected. Also, it is the day before the episode comes out once again. So hi guys, in 24 hours, if you're listening to this on release day, I appreciate you, but that's just life. That's just how things be. If you look at my outfit, it might not be as cute sitting down due to all of the wrinkles in my shirt, but this is what I imagine I would look like if I was a princess in a land that really favored denim as a textile, which I guess could just be Canada. So that's neither here nor there. Let's see, life updates. I cut my own bangs. I don't think I had done that at the point of recording last time. No, I hadn't because I think I cut them. I cut them last Friday. So last Friday was my friend Morgan's podcast party. She's been on 2 different episodes and she does like a big production for her podcast party every year and it's so much fun. And sometimes I'm thinking, maybe I should do this for my podcast. But then I think, me and the girls, me and the listeners, I don't know that we want to commit to a social plan. It would be fun. I think it's one of those things in theory that sounds amazing. And Brie and I did do one podcast party for our 1 year whenever we were both co-hosts, and that was really fun. But I just feel like if I were to plan one this year or any of the future years, you guys would be like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And then the day would come and we would all be like, I have to get out and socialize, and we wouldn't do it. So that's why I don't plan them. If you guys would be interested in doing something, I've also tossed around different ideas like friendship, speed dating, and I think that could be really fun if anyone has any interest in that. Just like meeting for an hour or so, maybe at Urban Grounds after hours and doing friendship, literally speed dating, like sit down for 60 seconds, talk about a topic. If you hit it off, you exchange Instagrams. If not, no pressure, you rotate, and it's so fun and a good way to make adult friendships because that's something that I feel like a lot of people have reached out to me and said that this podcast gives them a sense of community where it can be difficult to find that as a working/young married woman. So just some ideas. But all that to say, Morgan's podcast party was so much fun. It was spiritual and so much fun. I was honored that she wanted me to be a co-host of her live show with her. So we got to do some speaking on stage, which obviously I always appreciate any attention given to me. So I did have a good time there. But at her podcast party, the theme was streetwear, and I had an outfit picked out. And as I'm putting my outfit on, I was like, you know what would look so much better with this? Bangs. And hear me out. I had just posted a video of my outfits from December of this year. Some outfits were from December. It was basically like 4 outfit videos that I had neglected to post. And I was like, you know what? They were cute. I might as well throw them up. So in editing that video, one of the clips, I had also just cut my own bangs. And I was like, ooh, those looked really cute. I like how they were sitting there. And the combination of that video plus the mania of being trapped in the house all week, keep in mind, I had also just box dyed my hair once again a day or so before. And I have to leave this party at probably 5:15. About 4:45, I pick up the scissors. Cut my own bangs. My makeup was already done. I'm leaning over the sink like this, cutting my bangs, looking like literally cross-eyed, trying to cut them and see if it works. And it did. The thing is, I haven't had a bad enough consequence with any of my hair decisions to make me not do it. I know that's inevitable. I'm going to do something wrong. I'm going to cut my bangs too short and end up with micro fringe. And then I'll have to get a job at Starbucks because that's the only job that those bangs really are applicable to. Or I'm just going to dye my forehead, I guess. I've done that several times with the black box dye. There's currently a black box dye handprint on my bathroom vanity, which, good news, it's white. So it's very, very blatant. But the consequences haven't been bad enough to make me stop. So I haven't learned my lesson yet. Loving the bangs, though. This is, going on 6 days of styling them, 5 days. Still don't know how. Not from round 1, not from this round. Maybe I'll learn. If not, they'll grow out. So again, that's neither here nor there. I do have spring fever. It's 70 degrees right now. It's been the most beautiful week ever. The birds are chirping. I had a little bit of time to work from home this morning, so I cracked my office window open. Of course, it was like 60 degrees, so it was freezing. My hands were like a little bit numb. I was very slow to typing, but the birds were chirping. It was just amazing. There were sounds of children laughing outside, which, while irritating, sometimes does remind me of spring, so I'll take it. Hope you guys are all experiencing the beautiful weather, and that if you're trapped inside working, at least I hope that your office has a window or a door of some kind. Otherwise, you should sue for negligence, because that sounds like some kind of cruel and unusual punishment. I did see Captain America yesterday, finally. I was supposed to see it a week or so ago, and the theater shut down because of snow. So I was very disappointed, but I saw it last night. I don't want to give any spoilers, A, because I don't want to give any spoilers, but B, probably most of you don't care. It was just amazing. There was a surprise in the movie that I hadn't anticipated. If my friend Susan is listening to this, she understands because we saw it together. I got to third wheel with her and her husband, and it was so fun. I did also eat an entire large box of popcorn by myself because Austin is out of town, which I shouldn't say, but by the time this episode comes out, he will be back in town. So unfortunately, the assassination window for me has ended. I have a story about that in a second. You'll understand when I tell it to you. But it was everything that I wanted it to be, and then more. It did send me into a mild tailspin that caused me to be up until 2 a.m. And this is the weird thing. Whenever I get a little bit manic, suddenly, like I've said, I don't need sleep, but not only do I stay up late, but my brain wakes me up earlier. I don't know if my brain is just like, what we could do is not sleep, but instead wake up and be crazy again. So around 5:30 this morning, my brain just woke up, which is fine. I felt good. I wasn't tired. My Oura ring does think I'm dying, unfortunately. But Captain America was amazing. If you want to talk about it in detail for any length of time, you know where to find me. I had the most fun girls weekend. Sorry, I'm reading my notes. I don't know why I can't remember anything I had to talk about in my personal life, because you'd think that would be the thing that I'm the most well-versed in. But I celebrated my sister-in-law's birthday on Saturday. It was the most fun. We got to work with a hotel in Springfield called the Moxie. It's, if you haven't seen it, all over my Instagram, it's the cutest hotel. It's like a boutique-y, girly hotel. It's through the Marriott chain, I believe, but it does not look like a chain hotel in the slightest. It's so eclectic and so cool. So we had literally the perfect staycation. I'm so mad that we didn't think of this before, but it honestly worked out perfectly because we wanted to do something fun, but no one wanted to travel, and it wasn't like we were trying to spend a ton of money to go out of town and do something for a birthday party, because we have 6 girls in like our little friend group of this genre. So to go out of town for all birthdays would be a little bit cumbersome. Enter the Moxie. So we planned this cute little weekend. We get to the hotel. We had done mob wife theme just because why not? We already have to wear coats because it's the winter. So we figured why not do fur coats and then just make it a theme, because everything is better with a little Pinterest board to accompany it. got ready at the hotel, went to have pasta at Bruno's right next door. Delicious, amazing. Walked back about 25 feet to the hotel, went downstairs to a jazz club where we got to listen to some live music, feel super swanky, super cool. Sat in a corner, pretending like our husbands were these big important mobsters that were off, whacking somebody. I don't know why whack is my word of the day. This is something that I probably should change, but anywho, we pretended to be mob wives. We took a lot of flash photography. Luckily, we were in a corner, so we disturbed no one. And then went back upstairs, and we had the most fun. We did little face masks, and it was like our 13 going on 30 2000s rom-com fantasy moment. Put on pajamas, played games, ate so much candy. So much candy. And then we just giggled until everyone fell asleep, woke up, had coffee, and then went our separate ways. It was so much fun. I highly recommend if you're looking for something to do for your birthday or for a friend's birthday or just for, a fun little weekend. They were so accommodating. They were so nice. The rooms are so cute. They're downtown, so they're very close to a bunch of other things that you can do activity-wise, but they have their own parking lot, so you're not having to worry about leaving your car off street or in a parking garage. It was such a fun weekend. And the pictures were adorable, which is just a bonus. So have a gander at my Instagram if you're looking for inspiration, but I had a great time and I think everyone else did as well. Okay, back to my story about being assassinated. This week, Austin's been away for a work trip, and normally I don't like to mention when he's out of town until he's back, but by the time this episode comes out, like I said, he will be back. So if you are looking to stage an attack and a coup on my home, then you are out of luck for both the attack and the coup. But I get paranoid when I'm home by myself, as most of us do who watch the news. So we have a security system. We have these measures in place, which we did get whenever he started to travel for work, because why would I not want an extra safeguard in the home? So we have all these things set up, and the way that our house is laid out, you can go to the master bedroom hallway and it splits into two. So you're standing in the hallway. You can go left to the laundry room, right to the bedroom. And then they kind of circle around because the laundry room connects to the closet connects to the bathroom connects to the master bedroom comes back around to the other side of the hallway. So it's like a big loop. So as I'm tucking myself into bed the very first night, I shut the bedroom door and I lock it. And I was like, wait a second. There's a complete other entrance that is unguarded because someone could easily just hang a Louie, go through the laundry room, the closet, the bathroom, and then also find themselves in my bedroom with no issue. And that just wouldn't do. So I went back around to the door that locks, which is the door from the laundry room to the closet. And our home is like 4 years old. It's settled in some doorways so that the doors won't shut. And if they shut, they won't latch because the little clicker thing doesn't line up with the groove that it's supposed to go into to lock. So I'm over here tugging on the door. I'm trying to lift it up. It's not working. So even if I turn the lock, it doesn't click into the latch, so it doesn't seal. And I'm like, this is a problem. And now I'm fixated on it because now I'm going to go to sleep knowing that I gave up on this one lock. And even though I'm in my dead-bolted, locked home with a security system, with one of the doors locked, it would just linger in my mind in a way that would prevent me from sleeping in a way that's independent from my normal reasons that I don't sleep. So then I was thinking, what I should do is create a simple machine. Use a little lever fulcrum effect to shut the door. Because I took 6th grade science and I know what I'm doing. So I went and got a book, and I had to put this skinny book over a makeup product, a setting spray basically that was rolly but not huge. I put the book over it. I wedged the book under the door, shut the door, and then I had to push down on the other end of the book to make the door lift up enough for the latch to go into the groove. It did work. I'm happy to report that I'm a genius and that physics have always come so naturally to me. There wasn't really a point to that story, but I feel like speaking it out loud makes me feel less insane for having done it. Is it overkill? Yeah. Yeah, it is. But if I did it and left that just in the depths of my brain, shared with no one, I think that it would have been a little bit more shameful than if I choose to make it a fun anecdote for the podcast. All right, we're 14 minutes in and I've done no report. Let's fly through this. Reading, mostly fan fiction. Let's not talk about that. Eating strawberries. There's a strawberry cart in town that has organic strawberries, and they're amazing. And since Austin's been gone, I have not had anyone reminding me to eat protein. So I seriously have a giant, probably this big, mixing bowl full of strawberries that I cut and wash. And I've just been snacking on those all the time. I have had actual meals mostly. Well, I wouldn't say actual meals. I have had other foods. For example, the popcorn last night, things of that nature. But there's been no one telling me to make sure I hit all the pyramids. Well, all the food groups in the pyramid. So I haven't. So I've been eating strawberries. Playing 70s music. 70s music just always feels like spring to me. Been listening to Foreigner, Hall & Oates. That's it. That's all I've been listening to. It's been great. And I'm obsessing over, you guys, I don't need to say this. It goes without saying, we're back on the MCU. We're back on Bucky Barnes. We're not going to open that up. What am I recommending? Anything outdoors. Go get your vitamin D. Go breathe in the fresh air. Go listen to a bird chirp. It's good for you. Treating, staying up late at night. Because again, when Austin's not here, there's no one to say, put your phone away, turn the TV off, put your computer away. It's time for bed. So I don't. And I'm going to have to get back to sleeping since he's returning. But it's been fun while it lasted. Probably it's best for my health in so many ways that I'm married to him, both physical and mental, because I neglect a lot of basic human needs, and also I go insane when he's not around. So happy that he's coming back, happy that we're married. That is a very positive thing in my life. All right, back onto the topic. Last week, we had talked about rebranding yourself, reinventing yourself, and if you didn't listen to that episode, I'll give you the short version. Basically, we talked about how your relationship to yourself, how you view yourself, determines what you will create and accept as far as the life that you live. So if you see yourself as strong, powerful, confident, you will probably be more successful because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You seek out opportunities that you think you can succeed at. You try harder, you put yourself out there, you're more confident, you take more risks, etc. And then because of the confidence that you have and the effort you put forth, you probably will succeed more often than you fail. And on the contrary, if you don't see yourself as someone who's capable or someone that's smart or successful or promising, you will also fulfill your own prophecy in that way by not applying yourself, not trying as hard, and ultimately sabotaging your own success because you didn't think that you could do it in the first place. And then you prove yourself right, which just perpetuates the cycle on both ends. So we talked about how your identity and your sense of self drives everything. We also talked about how it's important to note that we're not just talking about rebranding as in your Instagram aesthetic. We're not talking about just your closet. We're not talking about anything that's so trivial. We're talking about overarching what is your identity as a whole? Who are you? What are your defining principles? What habits do you want to live your life through? What are your goals? What's your 5-year from now self doing? What's she like or he? And how can you change your habits today to make you more closely resemble that version of yourself? We talked about all those things. It was a long episode. It was very good. I think you should listen to it if I do say so myself, and I do. But today I have the list of things that I actually had compiled to give you tangible steps and actionable items to determine more about how you can go about this rebrand, reinvention, and so forth. So today we're going to start with physical reinvention. And I am a big proponent of this. So without getting into all of my lore, because that would be a headache if I did that every single time. But I have had many different hairstyles. You guys know this. Last year I was blonde, redhead, brunette, and then ended with black hair. And I don't know if there's a term for people with black hair. It's not blackhead. That would be really unfortunate. It's not blackette. It's not just black-haired. Is that all you say? That's kind of boring, but I don't know that there's a term for it, which is kind of disappointing, but not important. So I've had all the different hair colors, and part of that is just because I'm indecisive, but at the end of the year it was more intentional because I wanted to kind of put a kibosh on one season of my life and one attitude that I had. And while you can't change your circumstances necessarily, I've tried, believe me, you can't really change what hand you've been dealt. I've tried asking God for like a reshuffle or a new deck, and he said, that's not how it works, unfortunately. House rules, and the house is heaven, and you have to obey the rules. And I said, okay, fine, whatever. So I can change my attitude about the hand that I was dealt. And when I was being decisive about making that change, making that mental shift, then maybe it's me being simple-minded, or maybe it's me just like always pretending that I'm a character in some kind of fictional reality, thinking, okay, I should have a physical change to accompany this, because if I'm going to become someone who's more positive, more enigmatic, more excitable, more zestful about life, and is that a word? Who cares? Who cares? I think the word I was looking for is zealous, but you get the point. Just more happy, more overjoyed, more colorful. I wanted to be that person again, and I also had fried off my hair from years of bleaching it, So that goes hand in hand. But I was like, you know what? It'll be good to have a physical change to kind of earmark this chapter for me and to say, this is the new me. I'm going to literally down to all of the times that I look at myself in the mirror, every single thing is different. Like looking at myself, I don't even appear the same. And it almost will signify to me somewhere in the depths of my mind that this is different, I'm different, and then remind me to act accordingly to how I'm trying to change. You could do it in a much less drastic way. I'm not saying you should go buy box dye and cut your own bangs and dye your hair black. If you want to, personally, I've been a fan of how it's worked out for me. I'm not going to recommend that anyone does that. But if there's something that you've been looking to do or looking to change about yourself physically, then I say go for it. Make this the time to change everything in one fell swoop. Let's just go ahead and rebrand. So if you have an idea of who you want to be, and you're like, I've always tossed around the idea of chopping my hair off, but I just have always had long hair. I don't know what I would do without it. Who am I without it? Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to explore all the different versions of yourself that you've not gotten to live out yet. So a physical change is one of the easiest and most easily doable changes to implement quickly. Next, I would say exercise is also a big determining factor in how I see myself. And I've done, like I said before, so many different kinds of exercise, so many different kinds of workouts, just depending on what mood that I'm in and what stage of life I'm in and really what I'm looking to do. Like I have enjoyed spin classes and being social with my friends. I've enjoyed running. I've enjoyed literally just going on long walks and listening to music. So it depends what you're looking for. But for me, I want to see myself as intense and strong and powerful and capable, and something that makes me feel that way is HIIT training and weightlifting. So these fast-paced workouts with upbeat music and really high heart rates and just intense training sessions make me feel good. Whenever I feel completely gassed at the end of a workout, or your heart rate's super high, you're gasping for breath, I feel like that makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I did something. And the same thing with weight training and doing some calisthenics. Whenever I accomplish something new as far as a skill that I've learned, or I'm lifting more weight than before, it makes me feel strong, which then makes me want to work harder in the gym because I feel strong, and it reaffirms this bias that I'm trying to build about myself where I think that I'm strong and I think that I'm capable, and the gym is an easy way to put that into practice. So whenever I go to the gym, I already enjoy it because I've been working on this bias for months and months now, and telling myself, I'm someone who excels in the gym, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I can do a hard workout. There's not a workout that is so tough that I couldn't finish it. That is not true. There are plenty, but just that attitude of like, I can do this. There's no workout that's going to defeat me in this gym today. And then I don't select workouts that I think will challenge that. Obviously, I want to challenge myself, but I'm not trying to go out and run an ultra marathon. So all that to say, then it makes me leave just with a sense of accomplishment, and I feel good because I didn't go to the gym dragging my feet and thinking, I just gotta get through this, because I don't want to be somebody who just goes to the gym and gets through it. So I've taken steps to make that not the case. Working on my attitude, working on little things that make me enjoy going to the gym, so that can also align with how I want to see myself and who I want to be. Moving right along. One note that I did put that I think I should note is that you really need to shift from punishment to empowerment and strength over size. So working out should be empowering, it should be enjoyable, it should be fun. And I know that that's not always the case because you are working out, so you're straining your body, so it will be challenging in some ways. But I think that if you can find something that makes you feel happy and look forward to it, no matter what that is, it's worth doing. Even if it's not the highest calorie burner, even if it's not the sexiest workout. Like for a long time, I would literally take my little headphones, I would go to a trail and I'd play music, and I would like dance on the trail and just daydream, like just be completely in my own head, not think about anything. And I should probably note that you should be aware of your surroundings and be safe. I wasn't. I'm not gonna lie. I was completely in La La Land, probably had my eyes closed half the time. But just walking through a beautiful trail, and that's all I did for like an entire summer for my workouts. I would just walk for like 2 hours in the evenings. It was also golf season, so Austin was at home. It's not like I was just ignoring him. But that was my whole workout. And I would like dance and just boogie like down the trail. And it was so helpful and so good for my mind. And I didn't feel like doing anything else. So if that's something that makes you want to go work out and you enjoy it, if it gets you at the door without a sense of dread in your stomach, do it. Go do one of those treadmill strut walks. There's so many good playlists. Take a Pilates class. You can buy class passes where you can try all these different fitness classes in your area and determine which one's best fit for you. So I really think it's worth it to invest in figuring out the best kind of workout for you. Don't just jump into it and be like, well, this girl I follow online goes to the gym, so I guess I should go to the gym. No, what works for you? What would make you want to go? Next, your space. I feel like this is something we've touched on a lot with our making the most of the end of winter, but I'm going to try and take a different angle because yes, decluttering your space declutters your mind. It makes you just feel better about everything, but this is more about the function of your space. So if you're trying to be a more efficient person, but your space is completely discombobulated, things are not where they need to be, you're going like point A to point Z to point Y and back to point A to try and do simple tasks every day, then you're not really setting yourself up for success. So try and optimize your space. Think about even just where you keep your keys in the morning, how you make your coffee, optimize things around you to reflect. Okay, amazing news. The pod track just stopped recording audio about 4 minutes ago, which you guys already know because you've probably been listening to it sound horrible because we're just going off of the video audio file. So my apologies for that. I'm going to keep a really close eye on it now. So if that happens again, I'm not going to keep yapping for 4 more minutes. So if you see me just staring at the computer screen, it's because I do have to apparently keep a closer eye on technology until I hire a producer, which I'm not going to do because that is me. Anyways, that was just my spiel on your space. Make sure your space is good. Make sure it's optimized for your routine. Make sure that you're setting yourself up for success and that you're not hindering yourself by keeping the same space that you've had or the same layout of your hair products, your makeup products, even simple things like that. Like reorganizing my vanity in the morning has made me have a better outlook, a better attitude because it has the space and the cleanliness and the organization of someone that's more organized than I am. And then it makes me want to live up to that. And then you carry that over into maybe your fridge. You organize your fridge and everything is just simple and easy. And you would be so surprised at how much that declutters just your brain, your thought process, your day. Like not having to dig through 10 different sauces to get to the sriracha. Game changing. Game changing. Follow me for more important and groundbreaking information. Okay. Social reinvention. This is something that I feel like I cannot stress enough, and it's very difficult to do because I think a lot of us have friendships that maybe have endured long periods of time. Like you have friends from elementary school or friends from high school or friends from college or, friends from any stage in between that you always have kind of carried with you. And maybe they're friends from circumstantial commonalities, like you had class together in 7th grade and now you're realizing, oh, well, we really don't have that much in common. We're actually quite different and we share few values. We have a lot of memories, a lot of history, but we don't really have that much in common now. Or you have people that you did have a lot in common with that you maybe met in a different stage of your life, like if you were going out more or you really enjoyed a certain social activity or hobby or something and that's just not who you are, or even just people that don't have the same ambition that you would like to have for yourself. Not in any kind of sense that's judgmental towards those people or shaming anyone else for a difference in lifestyle, but just in a way that it doesn't align with who you want to be and where you want yourself to go. So reinventing yourself socially is challenging because there's other people's feelings involved. There's other factors at play, and you never want to be, like I said, judgmental, hurtful, or make it sound like you're holier than thou by choosing to take a step back from certain friendships. So if this is something that you feel like you need to pursue, then I think that there's obviously two options for your approach. You could be upfront and say, hey, listen, I love you. I think you're amazing. I'm just trying not to go out anymore, not to drink. And I know that's an activity that we always used to do together. And we've got so many good memories and Snapchat stories to prove it. But for me to pursue this for myself, I think that we might need to just take a little breather, put this relationship on ice for a second. All love. It's just something I need to do for myself. I'm always here for you if you need me. And obviously tweak according to the relationship. But if you have someone that maybe you've outgrown as far as maturity or someone that you just don't think is necessarily being as aggressive in pursuit of their goals as you would like to be, then you can just kind of fade back. You don't have to continue to be full steam ahead into every single friendship all the time. And especially as we get older and people have marriages and families and careers and everything else, it's not feasible to expect that from a friendship, even if it is 100% aligned with who you want to be. And I should note, not every friendship and every person has to be directly aligned with you and your goals. Like just because you're locked in and you're so focused on this one thing, that doesn't mandate that your friends have to be as well. I'm talking more if someone's presence in your life is the direct antithesis, if it's working against where you're trying to go and actively causing you to stall or regress, that's whenever you maybe should evaluate if that friendship has a place in your life. But if it doesn't, if it's just someone that doesn't perfectly line up with you, that's okay, as long as it's not causing you to make backwards progress. And it's also nice to have people that can balance you out. If you're more intense and someone's more passive, or if you're more passive and someone's more intense, then sometimes it's nice to have that foil to make you get out of your bubble a little bit. So if you have those relationships, I would just ask you to evaluate them and say, what's helping me, what's pushing me, what's motivating me, and what's holding me back. So not everything has to be improving your life all the time. Just like with the media that we consume, I don't think that everything should be self-help all the time. Not everything should be nonfiction. We have to have some things that are fun and leisurely and entertaining and just lighthearted. But it's nice to have some things that help you and improve you. And I wouldn't advise you to listen to anything or to consume anything if it's making you worse, if that makes sense. So on the opposite side of your social reinvention, there's if you need to get out more. So if you're somebody who maybe has a young child at home, or if you've moved to a new area, or if you just are more of an introverted person and you are looking to get back out of your shell, maybe you have just gone through the whole stage of college and then you move, or your friends move, and then you start your job, and next thing you know, you haven't really socialized in weeks and you don't really know who you would call if you picked up the phone, and you don't have that person that's nearby, and you're looking to reinvent yourself in a way that gets you out of the house more and helps you break out of your shell. I will tell you, one of the best things that I ever did for my social life is just start replying to people's Instagram stories. And that sounds so dumb, but especially with girls, I think that we all have this weird assumption. Actually, I can't speak for all girls. I'll speak for myself. We have this assumption that if a girl doesn't expressly say, I like you, I think you're cool, she hates me and thinks that I'm lame. So I just started messaging people and being like, you're amazing. This is such a cool idea. This is so cute. Where'd you get this outfit? I love that coffee idea. I'm going to copy it. Like, just if you think it and it's nice, just reply. And you'll be shocked at how many commonalities you find and how many friends and friendships arise from just that simple interaction. I literally met my husband from Instagram, so you can trust me, I'm a professional. But I didn't reply to his story because he didn't post them because he's a man, and those are for girls. But just start putting yourself out there and maybe talk to someone at a coffee shop. I know that sounds so like, just go talk to someone at a coffee shop. It's so easy. But if you see the barista at Urban Grounds is wearing a fourth wing crew neck, say, I like it. What do you think of Zayden? Let's discuss. And then boom, new friendship. It's literally just about putting your pride or your nerves aside for 1 second. And if it's just a simple conversation and the barista's like, yeah, Zayden's fine. What do you want? Oat milk? Cool. If that's it, okay, then move on with your day. It's not that big of a deal. So I think you just have to almost put your social anxieties to the side for a second, which I know is much easier said than done, but just put yourself out there and make yourself a goal. If you see you down the road as someone with a really close-knit group of girlfriends with social activities in the calendar, if you feel like you want to have more things to look forward to, you want to put yourself out there in a way that allows you to be that friend for someone else and just have more relationships you can count on, then take the first step now, because those things don't happen overnight. You have to curate them. You have to seek out friends. You have to be a good friend. So go ahead and start that. Just do a little DM sliding. Trust me, girls are much nicer than you think that they're going to be. So challenge yourself. Just reply to a story or two. It's okay. It's cool when girls do it. When guys do it, it's weird. When girls do it, it's amazing. And new friendships can blossom. Okay, routines and hobbies, parentheses, identity expansion. This is another thing I feel like I've talked about 1,000,001 times and just said, you have to have hobbies. You have to have things that you aren't just monetizing. You have to have things that break you out of your shell. And I think that it's important to anyone to have an outlet, but most of us, I would say, when you look ahead, you don't see a hobbyless, bland, goal-centered, exclusively goal-centered life. It's not just going to be you waking up in the morning, going on a run, eating healthy, dressing cute, and then what? You sit around? So what does your life look like beyond just the pillars of goals that you want to meet and thresholds you want to cross and career milestones you want to hit? What fills your life beyond that? Like, if those are the big factors, the big pillars of your life, what goes in between them? What makes them fun and beautiful? So find those hobbies. If you don't have one right now, if you're like, I'm really guilty of doom scrolling all the time, I have way too much time on my phone, I'm just bad about that, maybe pick up something simple. I wouldn't recommend crocheting, but maybe just get into reading. If you're already into reading and you need to break out of that because you're being too delusional, which I do understand, maybe try a simple craft like coloring with those adult coloring books. Do watercolors if you feel really crafty. Get into some doodling, some bullet journaling, just something that's truly leisurely, recreational, something that does not have to be compensated to make you feel like it's valuable or worth your time, because we're thinking about our dream selves and our dream lives and who we want to become. Don't make it just representative of the goals that you want to meet, because a good life isn't just measured in a quantitative sense. It's not just something that you can look at and say, I have this much net worth, I have this many pounds on my frame, I can run this many miles, and I have this much money in my bank account. It's not just those things. It has to be, well, do you have the freedom to do things that you want to do? Do you have the freedom to see your friends? Do you feel like you're surrounded by people that you love? Do you have good relationships? Do you wake up and look forward to doing something? If so, what is that thing, and how can you start doing it now? I hope that made having hobbies sound as groundbreaking as I feel like they are. All right, next, online presence, how you show up in the world. So online presence, this is, it's going to sound contradictory because I said at the beginning that I'm not talking about just rebranding your online presence. I'm talking more about what you consume, what you see, what you look into. And if you're just consuming the same like celebrity pop culture, brain rot, whatever else, e-news, who's wearing what on the red carpet, which don't get me wrong, I like that stuff. But what does that really add to your life or to who you are? It's not pertinent to you at all. It's all about watching someone else live their life and live their dreams. So I would encourage you to just do a little check-in. Just say, what do I see the most on Instagram? What do I see the most on TikTok? What is Pinterest feeding me? And take those conscious steps to go through and unfollow, mute, hit not interested, search up new things that will inspire you, even if it's seriously a silly thing. Like even if you change your Pinterest algorithm to show you more doodles, more watercolor inspiration. It's not necessarily going to make you a millionaire. Maybe it will. Maybe you're just that good at coloring. But it'll refresh your brain and help feed it with something that encourages you to move towards that version of yourself that's not just seeing what Tana Mojo and Brooke Schofield are up to, but is encouraging you to be creative and pour yourself into different pursuits. Similarly, if you're consuming all these things all the time, and your goals are over here, that you want to be successful, you want to be consistent in the gym, you want to be, clear-minded, clear-headed, focused on your goals, blah, blah, blah. But then everything you consume is just obnoxious, online nonsense. And there's a place for nonsense, but it's not all the time. It's not 24/7 all you're consuming, things that are just distracting you from what you're trying to become. Let's just clean it out. And if we're talking about your online persona, I think that the way you present yourself obviously impacts how people interact with you. And if you're trying to present yourself in a new way, that will change the way that people relate to you, which is a whole other way of kind of confirming how you want to relate to the world and who you want to be. Let me explain that better. If I want to be taken more seriously as a young professional and I want to be more mature and more polished, I should probably stop posting memes on Instagram, because then that's the kind of people that I'm going to attract, and those are the kind of people that I'm going to pursue relationships with and friendships with, and then I'm going to learn their habits and the things that they think are funny. And there's nothing wrong with that, except for the fact that my goal at the beginning was to be more professional and be more polished. So on the contrary, if you clean up your online presence, you start posting things that are more aligned with that version of you, the one that you're trying to become, you'll meet people who agree with those things or have those interests, and then the algorithm will feed you more things from like-minded people, and then maybe you get inspired and maybe you meet some of them, and then it just perpetuates that cycle versus working against you on the other end. Obviously, I'm not the proponent of being professional online. That's not a goal of mine right now, and that's okay. At one point it was, and I've since retired that version of myself. So she served me well, and I will always thank her for her duties to the brand. She's just no longer going to be the face of it. And if you are looking to have, more outgoing social life, if you're looking to have more friends or just do more things, then put yourself out there more, because if you never post, how is anyone going to have the chance to ever reach out to you? And if you're not sharing something on your stories even every so often, just the book that you're reading or the coffee shop that you went to, that gives no one a chance to strike up that conversation with you. So maybe you're not quite ready to message someone. You're not ready to cold call on a friend. But if you're posting something, it just gives someone else a chance to reach out and make that comment to you, because I think a lot more of us are struggling with loneliness and separation than we probably are aware of or would like to admit. But the only way to fix that is by making the first move. And it's a lot easier to say, well, I will post and then someone can just message me. But that only works, again, with men. They can come to you. With girls, we all have to put the olive branch out there. We all have to make friends and just make this a little bit more like Barbie Land up in the 417 and beyond. That was rapid fire because I really didn't want the podcasting equipment to cut out again and me not notice. So I know this was another list episode, and I'm sorry to do that because we just did one about maximizing the end of winter, but I got really good feedback on that one, and honestly, this one was supposed to be part of last week's episode, and I just yapped for too long. So this is something that I've genuinely been trying so hard to implement, is just asking myself, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What's important to me now? What do I want to see and be able to say about my life in 6 months from now and a year from now and so on? Because the time is going to pass regardless. 6 months is going to pass regardless. A year is going to pass regardless. And if I'm not asking myself those questions to say, what do I want to be true about my life in 12 calendar months, then I won't make any progress towards those goals. So I have to be intentional about it. And I know intentional is one of the internet's favorite buzzwords, and I hate it, but you really do have to look at every detail of your life, because what you're not changing about your habits, about your day, about your personality, about your friend group, what you're not changing, you're choosing. So you might not have chosen your routine specifically. It might have just happened to you. It might just be, well, I wake up when I wake up, and then I kind of stumble into the bathroom, and then, I go to the living room and I kind of get on my phone while I'm drinking my coffee, and that's just my morning routine. Then I scroll for too long, and then I'm running late for work, and then I have to get out the door and I'm flustered. You didn't choose that routine. You didn't sit down one day and put it on your bullet journal and say, here's exactly what I'm going to do. But you're not changing it, so you are choosing it. And the same thing with your fitness habits, your eating habits. You didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to have a whole sleeve of Oreos every single night before I go to bed. But if you're not changing it, then you are choosing that. It's the same with every single aspect of your life. You might say, yeah, I'm not really sure I chose to just sit around and not have any social plans, not be dating, and not have any interpersonal relationships to speak of. But if you're not actively seeking out friends, you're not putting yourself out there, you're not even on dating apps or asking your friends to set you up, if you're not doing anything to change it, then you are choosing it. So that's a very humbling thing to assess, because there's a lot of things in my life that I like to say, well, that's just how it is. If my bill drawer is a cluttered mess and I'm not paying attention to it, and it's just overwhelming, and like the scissors get stuck every time I'm trying to pull the drawer out, and I'm like, well, I didn't choose that. I didn't choose to have it be a mess. Am I changing it? No, I'm not changing it, so I am choosing it. And those are the hard things that I've been trying to really look inward with myself and say, that is a me problem. That's a me problem. I chose that. I did it. I need to fix it, and so on. So what you're not changing, you're choosing. Just sit with that for a little bit. Just see what your brain chooses to humble you with, because I've called myself out a fair number of times in the past few weeks. But overall, I think it's yielded some eye-opening good things to me. I hope this was a helpful episode. I know I've just been kind of rambling all over the place, but that is this whole podcast. And if you've been listening to any episodes for any amount of time, you probably know that. But thanks for listening. As always, I appreciate you. And last but not least, I just want to remind you that reinvention is not about becoming someone new. It's about becoming more you. That rhymed, and that was not intentional, but just remember that you're trying to become more of who you are. You're not trying to reinvent yourself to become a facade or a persona or someone that you have to wake up and pretend to be. You are trying to more fully relate to yourself, identify who you are, what you want to be goal-wise, and pursue that. So we're reinventing ourselves, not in the way that you do whenever you're like in 7th grade and you're coming back to school and you're like, oh, I want to be really cool and mysterious this year, and you have to try really hard not to giggle in class. Not like that kind of reinvention, but a more constructive, positive adult kind of reinvention, just to make sure that the life that we have is a life that we actually would choose again. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you've had a wonderful week so far. I hope you're enjoying the spring weather. I hope that you are taking small steps towards that version of yourself every day. I hope you treat yourself on Friday. Hope you get a car wash. I hope you have all mountains, no valleys. Thank you for listening. I love you, and I will see you next week.